they say man's best friend, but
Woof, woof.
I've got so many of them, and yet I feel like
Dog
there's something
noise.
missing in our relationship.
And
You all just can't seem to speak to me the way that I want, and I think I need to fix that. Maybe if we make something to fix this void, I think this spot looks good enough. We don't ever use it, and I'm not going to make any more storage. And maybe we just do something with this. Criminy, I hate building so freakishly fast. It really wears me out. Like, you just never realize how building stupid fast wears you out. But I heard if you put a pumpkin on top of some blocks of iron, you could have a best friend made. Well, it doesn't seem to work that well with an axe. Maybe I need shears? Where the crap are my shears? Huh. I swear, I don't have enough iron to make shears, but I have enough to make a friend. What is this? Okay, I found my shears. Now, what happens if I shear his face in there? Oh my gosh. Oh dear. Oh dear, what type of friend am I? I just spawned him in, and now he's gonna die because I am suffocating him? This is horrible. This is not starting the relationship off the way I wanted. Oh, are you okay?
I've been better.
Okay. First, let's fix this.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
And then let's put that back.
Yeah.
We need to put these right there.
I like that.
And then let's put this trapdoor back right there.
Wait, hold on.
And good.
Wait, how am I supposed to
Okay.
move?
Well,
Could you at least give me a chair?
maybe
or something?
you shouldn't be friends with me.
haven't
Maybe I
impressed me
should try
thus
and
far.
find something to help you out.
That'd be nice.
Whoa, this is a big build. Boy, I would hate to be the person to have to build this monstrosity. But I've heard this is the Iron Foundry in town, and I need some iron to help fix our buddy. All right, Gerald. Can I call you Gerald?
My
I got
name's
some iron
Phil.
to fix you up. Here you
Oh.
go. There we are.
So much
How's
better.
that feel? That better?
Oh yeah, that's
Here, I got
better.
a lot of extra iron because I
Ooh.
know I clearly can't be trusted. So just take it all. Take it all.
Yeah, I can't trust you at all.
And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. So
Oh, wait,
bye-bye.
hold on, no go.
Hey there, Brewberries. What's up, and welcome on back to another episode here in the hardcore world. Last episode, we built these cool little buildings here. These are our blacksmith buildings, and interiors are not done quite yet, but we did this cool smithy area right here. I am super pleased with this. I think it's very fun, and yeah. Oh, looky there. Need to get rid of that dirt block, but I will do that later on. Today we're not going to be working. Oh, even more stuff. Trapdoors. Need to put those on there. That's okay. Today we're not going to be necessarily working here. I'm going to be doing the interiors, probably for this episode. I may show it at the end. But we're going to be doing something a little bit different. And firstly, I wanted to show you, I got the blacksmith sign in. Look at this. Isn't this cool? Boop, 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 and safe. And I don't need my shield. If you look, this is the anvil sign for the blacksmith. I saw this designed by somebody, and I thought it was so cool. I originally was going to try and do it at a Blackstone or something, but I thought actually doing the andesite made for an interesting sort of look and kind of like rusticy, like it's been kind of wind battered, but it's not too textured or anything. I think it looks actually really, really cool. And so this is what you will see when the path and stuff is made. You'll be able to tell, oh, this is the blacksmith, and it does stick out quite a bit. So it does look a little bit derpy. I honestly may get rid of that last little bit right there, that last poking out log. May get rid of that just to make it a little less crazy looking. But it does hang down too far for me to put it anywhere else, unless I guess I could get rid of potentially the fences, like get rid of this fence and just make it so the chains connect to the walls, and that would actually make it so I could back it up a bit. I may do that, but this is what the sign's gonna be. I think this is really cool. You know I see some people doing like signs and stuff with just item frames. I'm like, well, I think this is better. I think this is a much better. I could put anvils, I guess, in an item frame, but why not go ahead and make our own stylized anvil sign? I don't know. I think it's really, really cool. But what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be focusing on the iron farm. Now, the reason we're doing this is because, one, I don't have enough iron to make an anvil, and I realized that after making the blacksmith. Anvils are pretty important for the blacksmith. But two, iron is a particular type of material that I don't necessarily like going and getting via like caving and stuff. Caving is fun and all, but it stresses me out more than I would like in this hardcore world. Now, I know I have pretty good gear and like a nice shield and all that stuff, but it's something that's like, it's a risk that I don't really need to take. I really just don't feel like I need to. So we're not going to. And iron, I would say, is a material that is not like other sort of automatic farms. It is a bit more of a journey to get. You don't get it in large quantities. And if we're wanting to do really cool builds, it would be nice to be able to have large quantities of iron to be able to add interesting accents. Now, I don't have a bed, so I need to go sleep. Now, what I've been normally doing is going down into this hole. This leads all the way to a mine shaft, and I've just been exploring that because it's a pretty big cave system. And that is generally how I think you find iron the most, is actually exploring cave systems instead of doing like strip mining and stuff. But we don't have a beacon, so we can't do like big clearings of stone to find also large quantities of iron as well. So what I would like to do is make an iron farm, because the iron farming aspect of the game is just not as enjoyable to me. Like, I don't mind mining stone. For some reason, that is not that bad for me. Mining iron is just kind of tedious because you have to go searching around for it, whereas stone and stuff is like, it's right here. I could dig down and find stone. So that's why we're building an iron farm. And it's a farm that doesn't take away, I think, from the general enjoyment of the game. One thing I found in Brew and Build is that I think as soon as I made my stone farm in that world, it really kind of killed my mojo for building in the world, because I no longer had like a grind aspect to deal with, which in some sense was good because we were doing a massive project, but it also caused me to not enjoy the blocks that I was placing down. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, if you mine out a whole mountain by yourself, and even if it's beacon mined, like, you still feel like you earned every block, whereas an automatic stone farm kind of feels cheesy. And that's what we did. And that's why one reason why I think the Brew and Build world got kind of stale for me was because we had more and more things automated, which I think having automation is okay to an extent when it comes to enjoying the survival aspect. Now, if you're doing like, if you love redstone and that's like the whole enjoyment you get out of the world, sure, go ahead, go like YOLO, go crazy. But for me, it's more about the building concept. So, and that's why we're doing the iron farm, is so that we can actually have iron to be able to build with, instead of being able to have to go down into caves and me spend like 2 or 3 hours gathering not that much iron, and then still having to like record the rest of a video or something. Like, it's more, if anything, about a time savings thing. Stone, not that hard to gather. It takes like 10-15 minutes, and then you've got enough for the day. So that all said, the reason we're over here is because this is going to be, I think this area is going to be where we do the farm, because you want to be away from any place that villagers are. And I'm not going to have tons of villagers over in this area. And so since we're going to be doing our mine in this area here, I'm thinking what we're going to do is have kind of a refinery of sorts built right around here. And I think this flat area here is a great clearing for it. It's like off the beaten path. You can kind of come off, and it's right next to the iron, like the mine shaft area. And so I think this is a great area for it, because we can also then have access to the ocean, and we could build like an iron farm dock area to be able to have like some small ships to be able to transport and trade with other villages and stuff. I think that's really cool. So this is the area that we're going to be working in. I need to do a bit of prep in terms of getting the land ready to go, clearing out all this nasty grass, and then doing a little bit of terraforming just to make it a little better, because you can see some Endermen have just gone crazy with all the block placing. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do that, and then I will come back with you. I'm probably actually, what I'm going to do is probably jump into a time lapse of the clearing and then the building of the farm, because I am not a technical person, so I am not going to build this block for block on camera with you because one, that's not really what we do on the channel, and two, I'm using someone else's design. I'm going to be using a Wattles design. I will have a link in the description to the tutorial that I am following because I am not a technical person. I don't claim to be, and I'm going to be using a design by somebody else. So I don't want to do that on camera with you because that's just unfair to Wattles. Also, I know you all probably know Wattles, but if you don't know, definitely follow him because he's a great content creator, and I think he just broke 1 million subscribers, which is really awesome for him. So let's go ahead, get on into a time lapse, build up this farm, clear this area, get it prepped and ready, and we'll then start working on the ore refinery. All right, so I've been doing some work. We do indeed have the iron farm over there ready to go, and I'm gonna eventually tear down that monstrosity of a grass path up top. Oh, there it is, rendering in the distance. But I have been hard at work on this particular building. Haven't done this one yet. We're gonna do this, but by the end of the episode. But I wanted to bring you in halfway through here. Now that the farm is done, to show you the completed, I guess this is like the workstation. Oh, Mavericks is hearing something, so I'll have to go figure out what the heck that's all about. Okay, there was a dog, and that's it. Just a dog. So you've seen this area before, and it's a little bit, maybe a little different, but not too different. Just to maybe an item frame actually got the anvil in. But I decided to open this wall up and actually make this building more open air down below. And so we have this area here. This banner, the ominous banner, I think is what it's called. That's going to be the town banner because I have so many of them and so many raiders come here. And it's, if anything, a warning sign to them because like I don't take it lightly. I will kill them. It's on my freaking shield. But this building is the sort of work area, and so we've got the forge area here, and then we've got a blast furnace here, and then another cutting table thing or cutting stone, whatever. And so this is going to be the workstation area for 3 villagers. We're going to have the weaponsmith, the toolsmith, and then the armorer. I'll probably just get them to be these professions before moving them in because it'll be such a pain with all the various different like composters, barrels, and stuff. I wish you could just kind of like right click on a villager with like the tool station to like assign them. Like, I want you to be a toolsmith, and then that just be like more of a permanent thing. And then you can just cycle through the trades by breaking their tool station. I don't know. It just would be easier, I feel like. But anyways, we've got this area here. So this is now at the inside. It's like a little workstation area. You do have this sort of entrance on the side with just a chair and a lantern and stuff. But I thought this was kind of fun having it being open air and stuff because I figured, you know, I had a door, but I was like, they're probably going to be moving back and forth all the time. So might as well just make it open so that it's really just seamless and put a little bit of a banner thing to create kind of a wall, but you can just walk on through it. And then up here, I did make entirely storage. So just a whole bunch of storage, some iron blocks for just iron storage, I guess. And then just a nice little jungle wood ceiling. And I think, yeah, I think it looks good. So this is this building all done. And not really going to put much effort into it beyond that, because honestly, we're never going to see up there anyways. And so next at the end of the episode, hopefully I will have this done. The plan is kind of have like a showcase area here, just to show all the different things that they can make. Then we'll have kind of the shop area starting for right here. And so then there'll be like the wares back here to buy, with the shopkeeper actually being back there. And then up here is going to be the living space with 3 different beds. And I think it will overall be very good. And as you saw in the time lapse, the iron farm is now done, and it's working. You can see a little iron golem there. Managed to just get one that didn't actually make it into the farm, and so that was my bad, but also not that bad, I don't think. It's actually kind of nice to have one wandering around. That is what the farm looks like. Very small, but pretty efficient. I've already used all the iron. We've already made, I think, 5 stacks worth in the time of me making the farm itself, and then also just doing this sort of adjustment of trying to make it look at least semi-decent. Now, what you will notice in the description is, oh, hey, look, an iron golem there now. What you'll notice in the description is actually a link to 2 different Waddle videos. The first is to the initial farm design, and then the second is actually about how to make the farm better and more efficient. So there's some changes you can see, like the chests up there. That is more about efficiency, not actually about making the farm like super better, but it's just more about like making sure when the iron golems get up there like that, that they actually fall down and don't get stuck on walls or fences or things like that. Like this guy should just fall right on down, boom, right like that, and then he'll burn on up. Right now, I only have this amount of chests because it's just all I have. But you can see we've got 9 here, and you may be wondering, where did the poppies go? Well, that's why this whole thing extends way down here, because I have made this automatic composter system to make bone meal out of the poppies. So we have a filter system set up here, and overall it's pretty nice. It's just very simple and gets the job done. And so overall, I think this is going to be good. Now, what we're going to be getting into now is the building itself that's going to be surrounding it. And I will say that I'm really unsure about this build. I don't know much about the mechanics of iron farms and how this build could affect the actual farm itself. But I don't want to have the farm just chilling like it is. I don't want it to be able to just be floating in the air. I don't like that. I don't think it looks good. So I'm really hoping that the farm building is going to not affect this at all. I'm going to try and make every single block non-spawnable in some shape or fashion, but I know there have been some problems that Wattles dealt with in this that caused some weird spawning things. So who knows? What I'm going to predominantly be working on for today is this side and this side. I'm not going to deal with the back end, so it's not going to be a fully complete build, because I really do want your opinion on this, because it's a very different style than the villager style. I just could not come up with a proper design that was big enough to cover this entire farm and also fit in with the villager style, since the villager style is not at all big anyway. And I also couldn't really find a build style that I liked that fit in more with the old style with all the stone bricks and stuff. I just couldn't really find one that made sense with the theme. Like, I wanted this to be essentially an ore foundry in a sense. I wanted that's really what I wanted, because we're gonna have this whole area be actually like fully transformed is my goal, to make it so we have like the mine right here. So we're gonna have the mine that goes kind of down a ways, and then I've already got a little bit of a square dug out, and so eventually we'll have it drop down into a mine shaft to connect up to the actual like mine shaft that's down there. So this is going to be the mine entrance area, and then I want the ore foundry to be right over here for easy access for smelting all of the ores and stuff. And so we're not going to actually go into like full detail about how to actually do all the ore foundry smelting and all purification process. We're just going to keep it kind of surface level. But I want this to match that theme and make it feel like it is very industrial feeling. So the build style is going to reflect more of that industrial vibe. All of that blabbing said, let's go ahead and get on into building. I'm going to go ahead and build the walls up first, and then we can focus on these outer bits. I think that'll be more interesting for you guys. All right, so lots of building has been done. This is the style that we're going for, and this is actually a bit different than my creative test world where I was figuring out this style. I've never really built in this more industrial feeling style. And this is actually significantly larger. Before, I think the build stopped in my test world stopped at the bottom of this window is like how tall it was. But then, or it's like right at the height of the farm, which is roughly there, maybe a little bit higher. But this is significantly taller, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, in order to do a roof, I need this farm to be covered by at least 6 blocks further up, because the iron golems can spawn. I believe it's like 6 blocks above and below the villagers. Oh, and if you hear toys and stuff, that's just Mavericks. I am just late, and so you may hear toys and stuff. I just want to get this video done because this is taking a lot longer to do than I actually was initially planning. But all that said, I think it's looking really cool. I think it's a really epic looking thing. I mean, if you go like further down this hill a little ways or this pathway, I think it's a really cool thing to have in the background. Like imagine like you're walking down and that's just on the skyline. It's just supposed to be like a really big old factory looking thing, and I think it looks really cool. Now, one thing that I just literally in the moment of walking up to this building from that path thought of is this build could be explained as being really, really big because of a few things. One, it is sort of the Iron Foundry, which is like going to be this side. But then what if, I was originally going to do this side as being an exact mirror, essentially, of what this side's going to end up being. But what if we made this side all about iron golem creation? Actually, like it's actually like an iron golem factory to explain why we would have iron golems in the village. Like what if we did that to where it is iron golems are producing the iron, of course, but in a sense, it's a way to explain how the villagers actually create iron golems. Maybe that's what we do. I think that's actually a better idea than just repeating what's on this side, though this is going to be a really cool build. I just want to make it a little bit more fleshed out and maybe even making that side have something as well. I only have 2 sides planned right now, but this build is a pretty big 4-sided build. Now you're probably wondering what in the world are these 2 sort of platform things? Well, this first one right here, so we're going to have a wall that goes all the way across, so it's not going to be anything too particularly interesting. So for this section here, we have a few different things that we could do. Originally, this is what I was thinking of doing, making a sort of singular block hole that is almost like it's a casting hole. Then this would be kind of like there. And so this is how they would make iron blocks. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, why don't we just kind of do this whole thing like this? Now, I don't want to do it out of bricks. This is just what I managed to grab. What if instead we just kind of did this alternating pattern to where the molten, because eventually what's going to happen is the molten metal will be poured right in the center here, and the lava will flow. And so this would probably be sunk down even further. But the idea is then you can cast full iron blocks in these little holes, but then that helps make an explanation of how they get iron blocks. So that's what this section is used for. This is going to be for the casting of iron blocks, not made out of bricks, but I mean, who knows? Maybe it is made out of bricks. We have plenty. So that is what that layer is for. That is for where the molten metal gets kind of poured out, and then maybe there is some form, we can just say there's some form of mechanism underneath that kind of pulls the blocks out, or as they are hardened, they kind of release, and then they can get the iron blocks out for then making the iron golems. Now, this section is going to be interesting because I had an original plan, but then with this build getting taller, it kind of got thrown out the window a bit. Not thrown out the window, but had to change. Originally, it was at the same level as this bridge, but it needed to be taller because this bottom section is actually like 5 or 6 blocks taller than my original design. So it needed to be 5 or 6 blocks taller, or 4 blocks, I think, taller. So essentially where those holes are, that's where the molten metal comes out of the sort of factory. And so there's like a refinement process that goes on in there, like a step 1 refinement. Then it pours out into these big kiln things that is then refining it further. And then it pours out and makes the molten metal blocks. And so on top of these will be 1, 2 big old kiln things. Now I've done a bit more filling in. I think I'm gonna use terracotta down there, just to fill in those walls. And then this is how big one of these big old smelter things is gonna be. And it's gonna be a big old thing that extends up. Probably the top of it will reach the bottom of that platform right there. And it's gonna be just like a giant smelting kiln thing. And so I just simply don't, because I don't have time to really do any building on camera, I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this and I want to get this side done so you guys could have a really good idea as to what in the world this build is going to be all about. So let me go ahead, get a tiny bit more work done, and then we will have a finished facade for you to be able to give your opinions on the build and what you think of it. Okay, well, many hours have passed. I have been building for probably 2 to 3 hours straight because, yeah, but you can see now it is done, and this tree needs to kind of go away, but eventually I do like the jungle tree kind of being right there, so maybe we'll put a tree on this hill and then keep a little bit of this hill and put a tree, and then it'll like frame it nicely. I think that'll be good, but this one, not that good. But I think this is looking really nice. So here are the big old smelters that you can see. So this is the ore refining stage, the final stage, and it's being dumped out into these casting areas to be making iron blocks. And so very, very particle-y, very campfire-y, lots of hot smoke stuff. And using the note block in an interesting design way, I thought because we're using terracotta, it actually pairs very nicely with the overall build. Using some smooth basalt or polished basalt or whatever it's called, to tie in the andesite purplishness, but also then tie in the darkness of the note block border. I think that is a really a nice way of going about it. Also makes the pillars just more interesting. I am very pleased with this. So you come up here and this is like one of the main entrances. I actually may extend this and make it very much a like a slab thing. So it's a longer staircase, basically twice as long, so it doesn't feel quite as like I think it needs to be a little bit longer, but overall very good. So we've got this aesthetic going on, and then inside here we do have just some flowing lava with the occasional like block here, like as if this is iron that's forming or something. I don't know, very molten iron. And so this floor, I'm thinking of changing. I think I'm going to swap all of the glass out actually for just straight iron blocks. Or originally the plan was to put lava underneath all of this, to make it feel very like infernal and stuff, but I don't necessarily want to do that anymore. One cool sort of idea here is that is where the lava flows from. It actually does flow from there all the way down. And so I think that is kind of the connection point to how these get the molten metal. And I think it looks overall very nice, and it feels very epic, I would say. It feels very epic to enter here between these two things. So I think what I'm going to do on the inside here is like the predominant thing is going to be obviously the iron farm, because how can you ignore that? I'm not necessarily even going to cover it up. I'm also considering not even doing a roof if it's going to affect the spawn rates. If I didn't make it tall enough, I already have built so much of this, I don't want to affect it. So it could be a very open air thing. And honestly, I don't think that if we build it correctly, I don't think that's going to be a problem, because we can build a fair amount here and make it feel like it's okay for it to be open air. And so I don't think that necessarily it will be a problem. Just thought that would be interesting. But I'm thinking of making the inside of this like very farm focused. And so if we want to get some form of massive smelter, we could put like a smelter in the corner, or a smelter along the interior here. And just make this very much a like, this is the automation building for most of the farms that we want to do that would require a decent amount of space, because we have a good amount of space in here and we need to fill it. And I don't want to necessarily just dedicate it purely to the iron farm. Now, aesthetically, it's going to be centralized on the iron farm, but I don't think including some other farms is that bad. But so that is what this side is going to be. This side is going to be like smelting iron. And then this side, let me know what your thoughts are about the iron golem creation process. I think that could be interesting. Gives me some interesting ideas to go off of as well. And makes me actually really excited to continue building this. So maybe each side is doing something. I don't know what the third side would do. What would the third side do? If you made it this far and you have ideas, we've got the smelting for the iron blocks. We've got the iron golem creation. What else? What other thing could this iron outputting farm be centralized on that you think would be good? I mean, we could be doing just like anvil creation or something, but I don't think that's necessarily where we want to go. There's also a little bit less room on this side. We'd probably have to break into the swamp just a little bit, but that's not a big deal. And the whole time I've been building, this has been making quite a nice bit of iron, so that's lovely. Let's check how much. There's not really that much bone meal, I bet, made. How does this thing keeps... Oh, it's because... I was so confused. It's because the redstone actually causes it to flip. That makes sense. 14 solid bone meal, so that's not going to fill up like anytime soon. So that's going to have to do it for this episode, guys. I am sorry that the video has come out late, but hopefully now you can see why in the world it did, because this was actually quite a bit of building, but I wanted to get this concept out in front of you to get your thoughts, opinions, and also for you to have something to look forward to, because this is going to be probably what we're doing for the next couple of episodes to really, I want to really flesh this building out and make it really cool. And so I think this industrial style is really going to be something that I think is really fun to explore, because we don't build in this style very often. And I would actually like to experiment more with it. But if you liked the video, leave a like in real life. And if you have any ideas for the other side of the building, let me know down below so that we can have a really nice fleshed out area. We've got the smelting, we've got the iron golem creation, we've got mystery third side, and then the port side, which is going to be really nice. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.